It's the 2K Sports pregame show.
Hello, basketball fans. I'm Ernie Johnson, welcoming you to 2K Sports. I'm here with Kenny the Jet Smith and Shaquille O'Neal. And our coverage tonight will be coming to you from Washington, where the Wizards will be going up against the Detroit Pistons. This Pistons group has been getting things done. They are putting together an impressive stretch of basketball. Only one loss in their last 8 games. We'll see if that continues tonight. And tonight it's a race of thoroughbreds. 2 clubs that can go end to end in a flash. What is it that makes these teams so good in transition?
THTA. TDI.
And what does that mean?
They have athletes to do it.
I knew what that
That's
meant.
it. Good ball handlers and good finishes, man. THTHTDI.
Not only that, they spend a lot of time perfecting it. The moment they get the ball, TLTP, they look to push.
WSIDTKH
What's that?
FTC. We send it down to Kevin Harlan.
Whoa.
2K Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the NBA.
Good Friday night to you sports fans. You've come to the right place. It's the NBA on 2K Sports. Our broadcast team tonight, on one side, Greg Anthony. On the other side, Steve Smith. On the sideline, David Aldridge. Steve, we're here at the midway point of the season. You hear a lot about the rookie wall. Talk about why that is such an issue for these first-year guys.
It's not a myth. I mean, you haven't played this amount of games. And I think more importantly, people don't understand, you haven't played against this type of talent in practice. So practice is wearing you down. And then you get a chance to go up against the best of the best for 82 games. You play about 30 in college. Yes, that rookie wall starts to hit you around January.
Now a chance, courtesy of Gatorade, all fueled up and ready to go. The starting 5 on the floor. On the floor for Detroit, Moore and Drummond together down low. Jackson is out there with Kennard, and it's Harris in at the 3 slot. Here's Kennard. That 3 off the mark. Outside, Beal. Right side, Wall. Buries it down low. Wall's got the opening bucket of the night here for the Wizards.
And in the post, Wall's got a pretty well-developed game for a point guard. He can navigate his way through the big bodies with very few problems.
And he gets the bucket. We play just over a minute here in the first. In the corner, Gortat with it. Outside, Beal. Morris a screen. Here's Beal. He's coming off a 22-point game against the 76ers in Philadelphia.
He also was very good distributing the basketball, keeping guys involved and engaged all night.
And so he earns a trip to the line. Officials on the contact, and he'll shoot 2. Well, Greg, for 2 straight seasons before this, the Wizards have had a starting 5 that all average double figures on the year. The engine of this offense, I think, is the backcourt. But they can all hurt you, don't you think?
No doubt about it, Kevin. Having a balanced offense like they do makes it tough for teams to prepare defensively. You can't just double or key in on Wall or Beal because they do a great job of facilitating. I think the bigger question moving forward is just going to be, what will the impact of that bench be? And ultimately, that's going to determine whether they can contend.
Good on both.
This is where he feels 100% comfortable taking all the free points he can get.
Ball pass it to Porter. Now the feed to Beal. Morris with the screen for Beal. Off the pick. And he didn't get quite enough under that one. Detroit with the ball. They come into this having outplayed Phoenix the last game.
And for the most part, I really felt like they were just locked in and really aggressive.
Well, we know those guys can score, but that night, it was the execution, the ability to finish plays. It was next level.
And so it's Washington with it, trailing by 4, coming off that loss against Philadelphia.
You know, they're the visiting team. It's a loud arena, very distracting at times, but simply no excuse for missing a ton of free throws.
You know what? The issue that night, the misses became contagious, and the guys lost more and more confidence as it went along.
I think everyone can now agree that John Wall is one of the better point guards in the NBA.
No doubt. At this point, when you factor in his production, he's got to be in the top 5, if not top 3 guards in the league. One of the better passers we have as well. It's just hard to find guards that can create so easily the way Wall can.
He's perfect from the line this time.
Yeah, easy to appreciate Wall, an all-star caliber talent who just fills up the stat sheet.
To the middle. Here's Drummond. Gortat with the defensive effort.
No hesitation. He took it right to the rack, but a quick reaction by the defense.
Wall's shot is good.
How on earth did they let him get that wide open?
The Pistons trailing. And there's the pass to Drummond. That's good, and it's Jackson with the assist that time.
Even though Drummond has been extending his range, this is where he makes his living, in the painted area.
No one near Wall as he lets it go. Wide open, couldn't capitalize. Now let's find out what head coach Scott Brooks had to say to David Olden. D.A.?
Well, Kevin, when I asked him about the defensive game plan, he said they have to clog up the middle and deny clean looks at the basket. If they can do that, he thinks they'll have the upper hand. Back to you, Kevin.
Thanks, David. Outside, Beal. On the wing, Porter. And the 3 off target. Pistons leading by 3. Baseline jumper. And Detroit again with the bucket. The Wizards have gone just 2 of 7 so far. A little bit of a slow start for them. Wall dishes to Beal. It's tipped. He feeds it to Morris. And again, Washington no good.
And that's a surprise. He's usually deadly from mid-range.
13 feet away. Shot is good off the back rim at end.
Breakdown by the defense there. Jackson, a solid mid-range shooter. You like to push him out further.
Morris a screen. Here's Wall. The Wizards with another miss.
Not sure of the thought process on that one. Really bad shot selection.
Well, you're playing for the team, not just yourself. They needed much better execution that trip down the floor.
Here's Drummond. Gortat with the rebound. Wizards trail by 7. They could use a big shot here to get this offense going.
Too many empty possessions. Right now, they need a basket.
And that one clearly a foul. Gets the whistle and 2 shots coming up.
The 2 big things that you want from the center are rebounding and defense. Drummond can provide both. One of the best rebounders in this league. Defense, though, it can be hit or miss at times.
He's off on the first. And certainly Drummond's such a force with his rebounding speed, as you mentioned. 2nd in the league last year. And the defense is coming along as well.
And as coach said, he's improved playing away from the basket. Drummond has the athleticism to be an elite defender.
Smith checked in for Reggie Jackson. So he comes up empty, missing both.
The 9th overall pick in 2012, Drummond qualifies as an absolute steal at that spot.
The shooting numbers just aren't there yet in the quarter.
Pass to Lou. Here's Drummond, and Drummond throws it down.
Yeah, I mean, maybe could have tried for a more memorable dunk than that one.
And we know he's capable of those memorable ones. Ball against Smith. Tries to snap the cold streak. No good off the front iron.
And that one gives them a +5 rebound advantage, Kevin.
Shoots. Harris misses.
No surprise, in a battle of wheels down low, the big man comes away with it.
So the whistle blows on the shot and 2 free throws for the contact right there. And last season, Greg, you heard a lot of names brought up for most improved player in the league, and Otto Porter was one of them.
I mean, and I think for Porter, the change came when he just felt more comfortable from deep in terms of shooting. He always had a solid mid-range game, but now he looks comfortable from deep and has become one of the bigger threats we have in the league.
Here's what Washington's going with right now. Miami's checked in for Gortat. Oubre comes in for Markieff Morris. Jody Meeks, he's checked in for Beal. And Tim Frazier subbed in for John Wall. Pistons leading by 7. Smith kicks to Galloway. Passes it to Marjanovic. That's good, and so Galloway with the assist.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They keep getting it in the paint and continue to score consistently.
Frazier kicks to Meeks. Back to Frazier. Now, here's Oubre. Taking a look at the scoring numbers. Right now, he averages about 9 points a game. Just 5 to shoot. Lets it go. The shot by Mahinmi, no good.
Ah, nice move inside. Has the defender beat. Just fails to finish.
The dish to Johnson. Here's Tolliver. Here's Marjanovic. There's the basket and make it a double-digit lead. Marjanovic has got his second bucket tonight.
And their offense already in a flow. Some stellar shooting to jump out to this lead.
So timeout called here. The first for Washington. Steve is a player. Do analytics give you a path to say, you know, I should change and lean more toward this, or I should stop doing that because I'm better at this? Does that ever enter a player's mind, you think?
Hey, Kevin, I think guys should look at these numbers. When you're saying from this spot you're shooting 20%, stop shooting from that spot. If from this shot you're shooting 80%, you might want to get to that spot. So I think in those cases, yes, analytics work. And when you're shooting a 3 and you're shooting about 30%, you need to step in.
Smith in the post. Frazier covering. The shot's good from Smith. Smith's got his first points of the game.
Unafraid to take it inside-ish. Challenging the defender. Comes out a winner.
Out to the wing. Oubre with it. Looking for his first basket still in this one. A shot by Frazier, no good.
And on the glass so far, it hadn't even been close.
The drive by Smith. Good. It's Johnson with the assist that time.
Defensively, they've been a step slow here to start.
Wizards trail by 13. They've been struggling here on offense.
Yeah, a bit of a dry spell for sure.
Here's Scott. No good from outside. 1:56 left to play here in the first. Oubre pulls it in.
In over his head on the layup attempt there. Too much defensive pressure.
Frazier the pass to Meeks. Here's Oubre. Washington gets it back. Mahinmi kicks to Frazier. It's Meeks outside. Sinks the triple.
I mean, just a good shooter taking what the defense allows. Finds some space out beyond the arc.
To the right side. Here's Galloway. He's guarded by Meeks. Galloway, no good. Washington shooting in the early going here. Pretty dreadful, 22%. Poke loose. Now Detroit moving it up. Smith with the basket on the assist by Tolliver. 6 points for Smith.
And when you build a big lead like this, especially early, you have to guard against the letdown.
Yeah, this is where it gets interesting. Do they start to coast, or do they go right for the juggle?
A 3-ball. They get it again. Mahinmi, and that basket's going to count, folks. Gets the goaltending call right there.
That's a very close call. I'm sure he thinks it's a clean block, but looks like it was on the way down.
Pistons leading by 10. Pass to Marjanovic. And Marjanovic with the slam.
I don't know if you can do it any better on both ends than they have tonight.
It's early, but they have taken full control of this game, and the fans here, they know it.
And Meeks kicks to Frazier. Scott dishes to Mahimi. Tries again. Feeds it to Meeks. And he buries that one, drilling the rim on the way down. Meeks got 5 now.
And right from the start, Kevin, they've been pounding the glass. Most of those 50-50 balls also going their way.
Galloway, no good.
When you miss a lay-in, it sort of sucks the energy out of your team.
And so it's the Detroit Pistons going into the break with a 10-point lead. Their lead is where it is because they've gotten good shots. A lot of good shots. And we've got more NBA action on 2K Sports coming your way after this break. And a chance to hear from Bradley Beal. He came from a football family in St. Louis, but said his mother introduced him to the game of basketball at a young age.
She definitely put the ball in my hands. She's the one who taught me my form. I followed through, and still to this day, she yells at me if I miss a shot. So she's kind of a perfectionist, and she definitely taught me how to shoot. She can shoot it, and she still to this day thinks she can shoot better than me.
Maybe some other NBA players should be practicing with Bradley Beal's mom, because she has definitely honed something special into him.
To be sure. I'm just not sure some of the more delicate NBA egos could handle her trash talking once she beats them in a game of horse.
Welcome back, everyone, to lopsided first quarter in the books already as we start this second quarter. And before we move on, what do you guys think about what we've seen so far from Detroit?
I tell you, on fire all period long, and this is how you want to start the game.
They built up a monster lead on the heels of great shooting. Love the attack mindset here.
Frazier is out there with Jody Meeks. Then it's Mike Scott. Then there's Oubre, and it's Mahimi at the 5 spot. That's the 5 on the 4 for the Wizards.
Well, a bit of a disappointing season for the Pistons last year. I thought they were ready to turn a corner with this group. End up missing the playoffs for the 7th time in 8 years.
And tonight, he sends it right off the glass. And he's fouled on the shot. 1 free throw coming up.
And a high percentage look there, and he takes full advantage. Bumps up the lead.
Yeah, the lead now is double digits. Some tricky matchups out there. Not a lot of solutions.
Detroit making a switch here. Jackson's checked in. That free throw good from Tolliver. And for the Pistons, they know they needed to get better and make changes for this season. They did what they could do in that regard.
Kevin, you just wonder if this team is at a crossroads. They need to decide if they should miss the playoffs again. Is it time to rebuild? I look at this Pistons team. The one thing they have to do is develop their young guys.
4 on the shot clock. Here's Frazier. And another miss by Washington.
They have been board dominant in this game. That's definitely been a factor in cracking this huge lead.
And that one's good, Marjanovic.
And that bucket adds to what has been a big difference in points in the paint between the two teams.
Some tough offensive sets. They want to turn it around.
Yeah, right now you just need a bucket to get some momentum.
Frazier outside. It's Scott on the wing. And just miss after miss right now. There's Galloway. Looking at his numbers, he's averaging about 6.5 points a game. There's Jackson with the 3. Misses that one. His first miss of the night, 2 for 3. Oubre kicks to Meeks. And a miss there on the triple.
Rough start to this game. Hits 1 bucket in the first and nothing here in the second.
And a lot to like about that play, particularly how it ends.
Yeah, at the rack. That's what you want in transition, a high percentage look.
Washington calls timeout. Steve, they say the defense wins championships. Talk about the value of communication on the floor when it comes to a team playing great team defense.
I think, Kevin, for fans, especially young kids out there, watch the great teams, the teams that are winning championships. They communicate. The teams that are not winning, you can see on the bench, not a lot of the guys are talking. You don't see communication with players and coaches. The teams that win, they are constant chatter about making the right play and also criticizing each other, but constructive criticism.
Did you learn that watching other teams that were great as they were at the top of their game and you guys were a developing team and you were a developing player?
I think for me, at a young age, getting a chance to watch the Detroit Pistons, being from Detroit, hanging around Joe Dumars, Isaiah Thomas, and obviously the late, great Chuck Daly, they were in constant communication, and they won, so that helped me be able to develop my communication skills.
And a look now at the breakdown between three-point and two-point shots attempted here tonight for Washington. And a little under 3.5 minutes elapsed in the second quarter of play. Right at the free throw line, and off the front iron, and in it goes. Morris has got his first basket.
You like how he uses his height there.
Sure, working the in-between area, not many guys with the length to bother him.
Lure the pass to Drummond. And the ball goes out of bounds. Nice touch by Drummond. Wizards trail by 18. It's Beal on the wing. Vicious to Gortat. Back to Beal. Morris with the screen for Beal. Shot clock at 6. Rebound Andre Drummond. Drummond's got rebound number 5 here tonight. Here's Lure. On the wing, Harris. Guarded by Porter. From deep. And there's the call on Andre Drummond. That is his first foul of the game. Ball against Jackson. Poked away. There's a screen by Gortat. Outside, Beal. Down to 5 on the shot clock. No good that time.
You want to talk about ugly? This team is losing, partly because he hasn't drained a shot all night.
Good. How many times have we seen a possession like that from them today? Ending with a basket, coming off a pretty pass.
That's a foul. It's called on Reggie Jackson. That's his first foul. And across the NBA, we've seen players taking a vocal stance on various social issues. Smitty, you think that's pretty important?
Very important, and I think this generation has done it better than my generation. Obviously speaking out, but yes, they're using their social media tools to come out and talk about important issues. The one thing you just want to bring light to these issues, and hopefully a lot of people, the more light you bring, the more solutions I think will come about.
Well said. They get the rebound, and that one is good with the extra effort on the glass. Drummond's got 8 points.
As the game has gone along, they've gotten more and more aggressive on the backboard.
Right side Wall. From 17 feet out, that one doesn't drop. The Pistons go the other way with it.
Well, they've been better than good on the glass today, and there is a glaring discrepancy between these two teams in that area.
There's Jackson with the 3. The Pistons with a fresh 24. Here's Drummond. That's in. That's his 5th field goal. He's shooting a hot 71%. 5 for 7. Wizards trail by 21. Washington calls timeout.
Well, when you look at this Washington team, the strength clearly lies in that backcourt. Wall and Beal, arguably the best backcourt in this league. They are the engine that motors this team with their scoring and playmaking.
You're looking at the list of the NBA's top shooters from behind the arc for the past month. Second, John Wall.
Sometimes a three-point shooter gets into that rhythm and just keeps carrying it over. That's been the case for him the entire month.
Wall missing again.
He's being aggressive, trying to turn around the team's fortunes, but he's having a hard time executing.
Jackson kicks to Lure. Now Harris. He's coming off a 10-point game against Phoenix. And yep, that's going to be a flagrant foul. Unnecessary contact.
And Kevin, I got to tell you, he's probably fortunate to just get a flagrant one there. I mean, so much contact. The officials easily could have gone even harder on it.
Greg, I agree. He better be on his best behavior from now on. One more flagrant of any variety, and he's out of here. Steve, you are known for your three-point shooting, but as more and more teams look to space the floor and shoot threes, we've heard some legends, like Isaiah Thomas, for instance, complain that everyone's playing the same. What do you think about that?
You know, me and Isaiah, we've definitely talked about it. And I look at it, yes, we have some guys that's multi-talented, but everybody can't shoot threes. If you're a good guy that be able to knock down with a high percentage, shoot the three. But if you're a mid-range guy, you can still be an all-star shooting the mid-range. Play to your strength, work on that shooting threes. But I just hate when 5, 6, 7 guys, everybody's running to that line, and that's all we're seeing. You got to defend, you got to rebound, you got to block shots, you got to do other things, because that still is the way you can win the game, by doing all things, not just shoot threes.
And really, having the best teams in history always had guys that can do different things, a ball handler, a rebounder, a screener, a long shooter.
Yeah.
It's always a combination of all those things instead of everybody doing the same.
You're so right, Kevin. And even though we've been in this three-point era, in the last 2 or 3 years, rebounding the basketball and defending still can win basketball games for you.
Washington's gone 1-6 from three-point land in the second quarter. Less than 20%. But they've continued to let them fly. Wall, that's good.
And Wall, just a talented offensive player, someone who lights up the shot chart from just about every area.
Out to the right wing, and Lure wide open. He shoots it. It's good. The assist that time from Smith. Lure's got 11 points.
Wow, unconscious has he been this quarter. They're riding that hot hand.
18 feet out. Wall missing again. Detroit dictating the flow. After this one, they're off to Philadelphia to take on the 76ers. That'll be the second on the road in the midst of this long 4-game road stand. Left side, Porter. Foul on the play, basket count, so it'll be a three-point play chance.
And they've done well at taking advantage of some late defensive rotations and getting the ball in the paint.
Washington making some changes. Miami comes in for Gortat, and it's Scott in for Morris. Detroit also making some changes. Marjanovic comes in for John Lure, and Langston Galloway subbed in for Kennard.
And the Pistons last season, a very strong team on the defensive end. The top 10 in the league, in large part due to their closeouts and rebounding.
And they're getting their points now almost exclusively from the triple. 4 of their last 5 makes are from beyond the arc.
And Scott has it in the corner. Trying to answer back, but that three is off the mark. The Pistons shooting it quite well, 52% from the field in the second quarter. And the rebounding of the Pistons, something that is very hard to deal with. The franchise has always put defensive effort at the forefront of what they want to do.
Yeah, when you think of all the successful teams in Detroit history, they all play not just defense, tough defense. This group has work to do, but they are on their way. I wouldn't be surprised if this group can be at the top of the NBA in the charts as far as defense.
Not sure of the thought process on that one. Really bad shot selection.
Well, you're playing for the team, not just yourself. They needed much better execution that trip down the floor.
Harris against Porter from 12 feet out. Rebound, Detroit. Marjanovic has got his 7th rebound here tonight. Here's Galloway. On the wing, Harris. Marjanovic passes to Galloway. The Pistons working the ball around now. Here's Drummond. That's good, and so Galloway with the assist. Galloway's got his 3rd assist on the night.
Well, he has to be careful now. He doesn't want to pick up that 3rd foul this early.
The Wizards haven't yet missed a free throw. 5 for 5. That free throw, no good. Kelly Oubre's checked in for Washington. Jody Meeks comes in for Beal. Anthony Tolliver. He's checked in for Detroit. Johnson comes in for Harris. And he's good on the second. Detroit dictating the flow. And here's Smith. He's got 6. Andre Drummond has been on display for Detroit. Between his points and his rebounds, he was a star for him in that quarter. And now we'll send it over to David Aldridge, who is standing by courtside. David.
Thanks very much, John. The shot is working for you, maybe more than the drive tonight.
I'm just trying to do whatever defense gives me. They're giving me my jump shot right now, and I'm in a good rhythm. And you see, they help me. I'm looking past my teammates. I'm not going to try to force the issue. If I got this shot, I got to take. I'm going to do it. I know my team needs me to do more tonight, and that's what I want to do. I want to be a match player, a franchise player. I got to take my team along with me. That's what I'm trying to do.
Got to make them pay if they go under. Thanks, John. Back to you, Kevin.
Thank you, David, for that interview, and we'll see you back here after the break for third quarter basketball.
The 2K Sports Halftime Show.
The first half in the books. This is Ernie Johnson. This is Shaquille O'Neal. This is Ken Smith. Welcome back.
Ken?
Ken, as we break down the action. Andre Drummond having an outstanding game. He ended up with 17 points, 2 assists, and 10 rebounds. Kenny, what's your take on Detroit so far?
Well, the difference to me was the overpowering presence of Andre Drummond. His combination of length, strength, speed, hops, almost unmatchable. When he's motivated like we saw in the first half, it's proof that the true center can still carry a team.
Shaq, what was your takeaway on Washington?
Well, they're obviously facing a hot shooting team tonight. That combined with a lackluster effort on defense, recipe for disaster. Without major improvements defensively, this game is OVA. Over.
And that wraps up halftime as the game is set to get back underway. Let's send it to Kevin Harlan and crew, standing by courtside.
Welcome back, folks. A lot to see in that shot from high above Washington, the Capitol, the Supreme Court, the Lincoln Memorial. That is one heck of a view. Welcome back, everybody. Third quarter just about to get going here in what has been so far a runaway game. Andre Drummond has been sensational.
Yeah, the fact he's posted a double-double with about half the game left to play, that's impressive.
He's been one of, if not the hardest worker over the first 2 quarters. His tenacity has been the difference.
Now it's been a one-sided affair so far through the first 2 quarters, but there's plenty of time to mount a comeback. They're going to turn it over. They couldn't get it in bounds that time. And look now at the various locations of the shots taken so far for Drummond.
Well, this is what you wanted to see from him. I mean, he's not settling for anything and is going right at the defender, taking the ball to the rim whenever he can. And the attitude he's had on offense is keeping his team flying around as his energy is contagious out there right now.
And the Wizards with possession, and that one good. Morris has got the first field goal of the second half for Washington. Unable to get the ball in bounds, they get called for the 5-second violation. Shot by Wall. Cans the tough leader from the outside. Wall's got 15.
And just carrying over from his last game, completely dialed in. You can sense his confidence.
I totally agree. Heat check after heat check. He realizes, man, I'm still hot.
It's Drummond with the rebound. Drummond's got double-digit rebounds now in the game. And they call the 8-second violation. Too much time getting it up court.
And let's see the stat sheet here on John Wall. He's been fantastic over the last 10 games or so. 4th in assists, and he's a defensive ball hawk. You can't let your guard down. Remember, he's 10th in the league in steals per game.
And as you said, dropping dimes at a top-5 pace. He's in total command of his team. They look to him for leadership, and he does not disappoint. On the court for the Pistons, Lure and Drummond together down low. Kennard is out there with Reggie Jackson, and it's Harris in at the small forward. Kicks it to Drummond. Shoots over Gortat. And that one's good. Drummond's got 19 points.
He's learning how to score in more ways. Andre now able to sustain offense rather than it being so sporadic.
And so it looks like the Wizards will retain possession here. Now some of the best in the NBA right here. The top scorers, efficiency-wise. 3rd is Andre Drummond.
And just so reliable offensively. It's one thing to find good looks, but you've got to finish when you get them, and he does at a fantastic rate.
And Wall kicks to Beal. There's a screen by Gortat. Just 5 on the clock. Beal can't get it to go.
Yeah, you love the solid screen, but what you hate is just the inability to finish.
You can see he's frustrated with that one. Knows it's up to him to make that play.
Outside Porter. He kicks it to Beal. There's a screen by Gortat. Back to Porter. 6 to shoot. Rebound by the Pistons. Now here is Harris. He provides a good amount of offense for the team, averaging around 11.5 points a game. And there's the call on Andre Drummond. That's foul number 2 for him. Washington calls timeout.
And look, you never want to see a team gut you this way. Really a good timeout.
Some of this is just a matter of toughness, a willingness to play physical inside, something we're not seeing.
Now we get a chance to check out the standings out east already. We are in December. You take a look at the Pistons. Things going their way so far in this season. Right now, they lead the pack up front in the first spot with the best record. And, of course, Washington, 8.5 games behind them.
And seeing where Washington is, most of the preseason predictions were right on the money when it came to them. I mean, a playoff contender, but not necessarily championship caliber.
I agree. As good as they've been, they do seem like they're missing that true killer instinct that sets the great teams apart from the good ones. Well, if you wonder why they're in control of this game, just look at his stats from the field. Solid, solid, solid. And the Pistons last season getting their scoring from a lot of different sources. High scorer last season was Harris at 16 points. They spread the ball around and everybody chips in. The beauty of the teardrop, very difficult to really contest.
Jackson passes to Kennard. Played in with a nice touch off the glass. Kennard's got his second bucket of the night.
And they are attacking the rim and getting great results.
Some tough offensive sets. They want to turn it around.
Yeah, right now you just need a bucket to get some momentum.
Beal from long range hits the three-point bomb. Beal's got 5 points in the quarter.
He has great instincts on the offensive end. He's tough to contain.
So the wing on the left. Here's Lure. Off target from three-point range. Washington's gone 1 of 2 from beyond the arc since coming out of the break. And out of bounds, the Pistons will take it.
That's what happens when nothing goes your way. You start to lose focus, and it makes matters worse.
Tim Frazier's checked in for John Wall. Here's Jackson. And looking at his production, he averages a little more than 7 points a game. To the paint. He's looking for Drummond and finds him. It's good. The assist this time from Jackson. Jackson's got his 4th assist in this one.
Just no resistance on the inside. That's their 5th consecutive make in the paint.
Outside Beal. Here's Morris. Good D by Drummond.
Oh, that's terrific defense there. That's how you protect the rim.
Kennard's shot is off.
How does he miss that layup? He's too good to be doing that.
Porter dishes to Frazier. Over Jackson, and that one goes long. Detroit's gone 0-2 from deep to start things here in the second half. Uses the glass to finish the layup. Jackson's got his third basket of the night right there.
Nicely done. They continue to attack inside, and that's 10 points in a row in the paint.
Got a piece of it. Morris against Lure. Outside Beal, just 5 to shoot. Morris a screen. Another shot. And it's off the back rim, no good.
Boy, he loves that mid-range jumper. Just fails to create enough room to operate. Well, just think what's happening here. He hasn't found his groove, yet they still hold the lead.
Porter in the corner. Connects from three-point range. Porter's got 8 points.
I mean, just a good shooter taking what the defense allows. Find some space out beyond the arc.
Here's Lure. Washington with the rebound. Gortat's got 4 rebounds in this game.
Obviously, this has been a tough quarter for him, but he's still trying to keep a positive mindset.
Frazier kicks to Porter. Shoots the 3. Shot by Frazier, no good.
Yeah, another missed opportunity, and you can just see the frustration.
He wants to help his team, but when you're in position to finish, it's hard to turn that down.
And here's the fast break. Beal leading the way. And Jackson with the block. Fast break, here we go. Here's Harris, and slam dunk by Harris.
Attacking the rim, Tobias with a solid vertical to do this.
Frazier the pass to Porter. He dishes it to Beal. Morris with the screen for Beal. Beal can't get that one to fall.
He's trying to shoot his way out of this slump, but it's not to be.
And Tobias Harris, the former Tennessee Volunteer. You would think a player who has been so efficient, Steve, on offense his whole career wouldn't have bounced around as much as he has.
It is surprising how much he's changed teams. Always a factor on offense, and he doesn't need many touches. If I'm a coach, I love to have him as an option.
Frazier against Jackson. And so he earns a trip to the line. Officials saw the contact, and he'll shoot 2.
Aggressive on the drive. That's going to result in some free throws for Jackson.
And there are a few players in the NBA who can match Reggie Jackson with the fearless approach he takes to the game. He'll always look to take that big shot, Steve, and goes right at bigger defenders and doesn't blink.
When you're Jackson's size, you have to have that mentality. Always looking for a way to attack a defense. Doesn't always work out, but the aggression he plays with never dies.
And a new group getting ready for the Wizards. Miami's checked in for Gortat. Scott comes in for Morris. Oubre is checked in for Porter. And it's Jody Meeks in for Beal. And a different look here for the Pistons. Marjanovic checked in for Drummond. Tolliver comes in for Lure. Stanley Johnson, he's checked in for Tobias Harris. And Langston Galloway subbed in for Kennard. For Detroit, they've gotten half their shots to drop in the second half up to this point, going 7-14. Tolliver, no luck. Washington's gone a less than productive 2 of 6 from three-point land in the second half. Meeks, good. Jackson with it. 7 points in the game. To the left wing. Here's Galloway. That's good. And it's Jackson with the assist that time. Galloway has got his third basket of the night. Frazier kicks to Oubre. Now, here's Meeks. Defense right on him. Scott dishes to Frazier. Back to Scott. A rebound by Johnson. For Detroit, they've gone 8 of 16 in the third quarter to put their second half shooting percentage right at 50%. The pass to Marjanovic. Pistons passing it around. Tolliver kicks to Galloway. Jackson against Frazier. Here's Galloway. No good from outside. Washington shooting, not looking too good out there in the second half, right around 32%. And that's a foul. It's called on Reggie Jackson. That's foul number 2 for him. Is Smith. He's checked in for the Pistons. .104 left to play here in the third. Frazier outside. There's the feed to Meeks. Frazier left side. 6 to shoot. Oubre, no one around him. The three-pointer, no good. Detroit's gotten off to a very slow start from three-point range in the second half. They're 0 for 4. Pass to Marjanovic. It's good. Now he's shooting 6 for 7. 32 seconds left in the third quarter of the game. Frazier kicks to Meeks. Frazier outside. Scott with the screen on Smith. Frazier outside. The rebound by Marjanovic. Marjanovic has got rebound number 10 tonight with that last one. Smith for 3, and it would have counted had it fallen, but it's offline. Andre Drummond has been on display for Detroit. He's at the quarter-century mark, 25 points for him in this game, as they have looked to him over and over to make things happen. We'll take a quick break, and then back to the action here. And we're getting underway here in the fourth quarter. The scoreboard tells the story in this matchup. But we'll see it. Washington shooting a pretty sorry 29% from the floor here. We've got Jody Meeks. Mahinmi is out there with Mike Scott. Then there's Oubre and Satoransky in at the point guard position. That's the group on the floor right now for Washington. Clock at 6. Knocked away. It's stolen by Johnson. Meeks with the steal. Fires the 3. It's hauled in by Tolliver. The Pistons shooting certainly a key for them in this one. 55% from the field. Johnson for 3. Washington with the rebound.
And, you know, he's got the ability, but the question is that really the best shot you can get?
Certainly not the high percentage look, but we don't know what the game plan is calling for. That might be it. Love the extra possessions. Defense has them stopped, but can't control the boards.
The Pistons making a change here. Ellinson's checked in. That's good from Scott. And with the business of basketball booming, most players are afforded a pretty lavish lifestyle. There's no doubt, in not only the NBA, but in all sports, certainly a blessing. But Smitty, are there downsides to all that notoriety, all that money, all that lavishness?
Yeah, it is, Kevin. I think the downside is, one, you can't live that lifestyle if it's lavish for the rest of your life. And I think, second, it takes away. You are a public figure right now. You have to understand that. And that's the downside. Being able to go out with your family, being able to go out to a restaurant, you got to understand, yes, there's going to be fans everywhere, and it takes away from that. So I think that's the two things for me is guys got to understand that lifestyle doesn't last. And I think also, personally, it takes away from what you can do out in public.
We're just over a minute and a half now into the fourth. And Satoransky kicks to Meeks. Here's Scott. The shot, no good. And the Pistons now going the other way.
I'll tell you, he just hasn't been able to get it done on the offensive end. It's kind of dragged down the team. So much sharper, so much more efficient with his shot this half. Just taking what the defense allows.
Now, here's Mahinmi. Not a lot of room. Blanketed by the D. He fights to the rim for the layup. For Detroit, they've gone 2 of 4 from the field since we started the final quarter of play. Just a little under 2.5 minutes have passed now here in the fourth. Tolliver the pass to Johnson. It's stolen by Mahinmi. Here's Sodorowski, covered by Smith. Passes it to Oubre. Here's Sodorowski, and he gets it back. And he recovers it. Scott, good.
After putting up zeros in the first half, he is making up for it big time now.
Detroit leading by 23. The dish to Ellenson. Pass to Galloway. He feeds it to Tolliver. Down low. Here's Ellenson, and he banks in the layup.
Up by a bunch. He's still pushing the action, trying to impose his will.
With this big of a deficit in the score, you think the losing team would be playing harder. Nope, the opposite.
Feeds to Oubre. Again, the Wizards score.
Timeout. And good passing, setting up a lot of these buckets right now, Kevin. That's been the key.
Now a timeout called by Detroit. And this is the first season where we have ads on jerseys in the NBA with the teams. Gut reaction, Steve, now that you've seen the ads on the jerseys, how do you feel about it?
You know, Kevin, I don't like it because I know it's going to start to add up. Well, we're not going to be able to see the player's name and the logos. It's just going to be ads everywhere. I understand it, but I don't like it.
You know, I can see it for practice jerseys. I can see it maybe when you're selling it retail to the fans. But, I mean, isn't there enough advertising already? I mean, that's one of the great things about keep it as pure as possible. I get the European deal, but there's so much money here, it would seem like this is just an add-on that doesn't need to be added on.
Kevin, I'm totally in agreement with you. I think practice jerseys, like you said, selling the jerseys maybe, but I think also maybe at the All-Star game, you can fill those guys up for that one game. But I would love to keep it pure, get a chance to just see those uniforms the way they are.
Wizards making a switch here. Max check in. Well, you look at Markieff Morris, and you see a player, Greg, who is finally meeting his potential.
And you know what? Give credit to Morris because he's fallen in line with the team and the staff here. I think he's always had the talent to be an impact player. It just took a structured situation for him to really flourish, and I think he's found a home here in Washington.
Smith against Wall. Rebounded by the Pistons. Drummond's got his 16th rebound on the night. Here's Kennard. And there's the whistle on the shot. Took the foul. Shot misses. He'll be shooting two. And there's the call on Washington with the foul. And the demands of NBA basketball, no secret. The league has taken measures, Steve, to allow players more time for rest, which is good, and more time for recovery, which is better. Less back-to-backs. Do you think more can be done and should be done in those areas?
You know, I know the league is looking at it. The less back-to-backs is fantastic, and I think they're looking at the travel and the recovery. So as more and more they can limit back-to-backs, I think that helps guys recover. I think guys get a chance to be ready to go. Because playing a back-to-back is extremely hard. And I think guys on their own are doing a lot to be able to take care of their bodies in the off-season. So I think both players and league are doing a fantastic job.
Clock at 6. Here's Beal. That's short off the rim.
Well, this is what happens when you're a threat down low. You attract a lot of defensive attention.
Smith outside. Back to Harris. Dishes it to Lure. Expanding his range. Mack grabs the miss. Wizards have gone 5 of 11 from the field in the fourth quarter. Morris, left side. And Morris throws it down. Detroit's gotten just 1 of 4 three-pointers to go down for them here in the fourth. There's the pass to Kennard. Launches it. That one, no good. Good work defensively by Morris. Outside, Beal. It's taken away by Smith. Harris dishes to Drummond. Good. And Harris gets the assist. 27 points for Andre Drummond.
Getting better at facilitating for others. Tobias Harris with a pass that sets up the score.
Wall against Smith. Here's Mack. And it's off from three-point range. The Pistons have gone 6 of 11 since the start of the fourth quarter. And he comes up with the deuce.
Yeah, he runs the floor with a purpose that time. Excellent play.
You know what? And a late reaction by the transition D takes it himself uncontested.
Wall up top, covered by Smith. The Wizards with another miss.
Way too much defensive pressure for him to get up a clean look.
Here's Kennard. Kicks to Lure. He dishes it to Drummond. And Drummond throws it down.
The power this young man generates at the rim. Drummond is explosive.
Washington's gotten off 4 3-pointers in the final quarter, and 2 of them have fallen. And Mack kicks to Wall. Nice ball movement by Washington. Here's against Beal. Here's Kennard. And he's good on the 3-ball. Kennard's got 4 this quarter.
The ball movement on this run has been fantastic and is a big part of why they've been able to get these good looks.
Here's Wall. Up again. Rebound Andre Drummond. Now the Pistons with it. They're on a 17-6 run. Lure can't hit. The Wizards shooting a low 30% mark from the field. Wall against Smith. Here's Mack. No good on the triple. And, well, Detroit shooting has been just great so far, up at 56%. For 3, Harris. Another 3 for Detroit.
Lofty arc on that jumper helps Harris convert in the face of pressure.
The Wizards shooting only 35% in the fourth quarter. The offense looking a little rickety. And here's Wall outside. Knocks down the 3-ball.
And that's from beyond, guys. Right back at you.
This is looking more like an all-star game right now. Everyone launching from range.
From deep. Rebounded by the Wizards. Now the feed to Mack. Lets it go from the wing. And it's wide right. It's off the rim. The Pistons shooting in the fourth has been tremendous. 59%. Pass to Harris. 1:24 left in the fourth quarter. They get it back. Drummond. Gortat with the defensive effort. Washington has gotten 3 of their 6 3-pointers to fall here in the fourth.
Well, guys, this was never really a contest. Just a total obliteration, if you will. And you can safely say mission accomplished now for the Pistons.
You don't see this kind of a blowout often. But tonight, this is a quality win across the board to deliver out this kind of punishment.
They definitely never changed the approach. They just kept after it and showed they were clearly the better team in just about every single category.
And so they'll stretch their victory total to 19 on the season.
And as we get set to put this one to bed, a one-sided season series thus far, they've won 2 straight.
And we watched one guy all night long, guys, and look at the stats, just confirms what a dominant game he had. What a night tonight it was for Andre Drummond.
What I like that he came ready to compete in this game, but he did it under control. Tremendous poise, never seemed to be in a hurry, just played the game the right way.
Out to the wing. 6 on the shot clock. Here's Bullock. No good with the triple. Here's Oubre. And a foul called on the shot. Got him on the way up that time, so he'll shoot 2 right here.
No, I tell you what, he earned his money on that foul.
He's off on the first. And the second free throw, good. 12 seconds left to play in the final quarter. Here's Galloway. From deep. And so Detroit takes this one by a big margin. To come into an opponent's building and dominate the way they did tonight says, I think, Greg, an awful lot about this team.
I guess they don't need home cooking to feel at home. I mean, Kevin, just a masterful performance all the way around.
And that'll wrap it up, folks. For Steve Smith, Greg Anthony, and David Aldridge, This is Kevin Harlan thanking you for tuning in. So long.